What's going on, buddy? Celiac here, and this in no way, shape, or form is this criticizing or bashing on Here's the Deal on the Here's the Deal channel. I'm not bashing him. He's actually given me some really constructive criticism, and I hope he takes this in the same way. Like I said, I'm not trying to overly criticize him, but I hope that he does maybe possibly look at some of the things that he said in this video in a different light. So let's get into this video, and I'll talk about it at the end as well.
These incidents happen, and as a concealed carry individual like me and Trish are, and you're ready for these situations, or you try to prepare yourself as best you can for these kind of situations, and then you wonder what you would do in that situation, and then you find that you missed being in a situation like that. It's a little bit different than just seeing something that happened, a couple states away where you weren't actually in this particular area, but it says it is safe to exit through the southern doors. Now, keep in mind, Oklahoma is a constitutional carry state. You can carry openly, you can carry concealed. I recommend carrying concealed because it's tactically superior.
This is going to be one of the first points I want to kind of touch on, where he says it's more tactical to be concealed than it is to be open. Well, I personally don't think that's true, only because I have access to my weapon a lot quicker than somebody that's concealing. And a person that really can prove that point real quick, this is going to be Lucas Botkin from T-Rex Arms. Amazing firearm enthusiast, friggin' one of the first ones I ever started watching, learning about my firearms and learning how to shoot. This is going to be me kind of debunking a little bit of what he's saying. So pay attention to the concealed way he draws and the open carry way he draws.
That's a center on the 3. That's a 1-1-3. That's probably a 110, 103. High. That was probably a 9.5, 9.8. One more. That's sub-second. Sub-second, 9.4. All A's. A 141, horrible grip. Woo! Ah, the third shot was a 104. 119. That is probably the best I can do.
As you can see, he's an extremely good shooter. He's shooting from concealed. He's shooting just under a second. But when he's open carrying, he's shooting 4 rounds in almost a second. So the tactical half of it, that's going to be a little bit debatable depending on your training and how much you train. And that's why it's important to train. So get out there, do dry fire, make sure your gun's unloaded, and do dry fire. From concealment, from open carry, train yourself.
Recommend carrying concealed because it's tactically superior. That way, if a gunman comes in, they don't see you wearing a gun and try to pick you off first. You have this element of surprise on your side.
Now, this part is a little bit more difficult, and this really goes into situational awareness. Whenever I'm out open carrying, my head is like on a swivel. There's not a whole lot of times that I'm just not paying attention to what's going on around me. If you notice in a lot of my videos, I usually have my back will be facing the water, and I'm looking almost in 180 degrees. And these are going to be the things about open carry that compare to concealed carry. With open carry, I promise you, nobody's going to get within 21 feet of me. If I feel that threat, or if I even acknowledge and see a threat like that, something's going to change in what I'm doing, whether I'm getting behind cover or I am, actively getting myself away from the situation, trying to back myself into a better situation, if you will. With concealed carry, and they don't know you have the firearm, they can get right up on you. And the same thing with concealed carry. If you have that, if you can see these things kind of unfolding in front of you, you have to prepare and be ready in case that situation shows itself. But you just never know. With concealed carry, people can still get pretty darn close to you, even though you have a firearm. And I personally don't want to have to draw my firearm in a very close proximity. I want to be able to say, hey, I can see this threat, or I see this person that I have this weird feeling, and I get myself out of it, whether it be concealed or openly. And that's one thing I would say about a lot of this. And, you know, with this, what he's referring to is the shooting that happened. And, you know, I've only experienced 2 times where I've heard gunshots. And I moved towards the gunshots one time, but I wasn't that close. I heard them, but it was still, you know, 400 or 500 yards away. So I wasn't in close proximity. The other time, I was not in the mood. I had my daughter, so I moved myself and my daughter in a safer position. And that's what you have to do. You have to judge the situation at all times. So concealed or openly, they both hold the same responsibility. But I also say, whenever you see armed guards, most criminals aren't running to go rob an armed bank. Most criminals aren't running into the police station to attack police. Most criminals are going to gun-free zones where they know they would have minimal resistance. And just like you're about to say, it's like, do you follow your ordinances? Do you follow these so-called unlawful gun orders and just say no? Well, we do know somebody that did do that.
Collie did have a concealed carry permit. Cook has recovered. Collie was found guilty of discharging a firearm in a public place. Again, not guilty on some of the wounding-related charges. His attorneys, Collie's, getting a hearing next month, arguing that the verdict should be thrown out.
Was carrying their firearm lawfully, defended themselves lawfully, but because they discharged their firearm, they're in jail still for discharging it. And, you know, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
I wanted to make this video because, you know, you can follow the signs and rules and ordinances and laws if you want to, but wouldn't you rather be in possession of a personal protection device if something like this goes down? Let me just ask people who are anti-gun out there. If something like this happened and the active shooter was coming toward you, whether you're in a mall or a grocery store or the bank or the post office or whatever, wouldn't you rather be in possession of a personal protection device rather than a cell phone where you can call 911 when you could easily just pull out a 1911 or a 357 or a Glock or whatever?
Yeah, and I 100% agree with him. Like, you know, for a lot of these gun-free zones and, you know, government buildings and town hall meetings you can't go, yeah, I have to disarm myself and I have to rely on the police that have no obligation to protect me. Yeah, I think you know, in some situations, not saying I'm doing it, but I'm just saying, you know, there may be those situations where, hey, if that's what you choose to do because that's what you feel you need to do, you know, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if that's what you feel you need to do, then by all means protect yourself. You know, but what this is really about for me is that not one or the other is more tactically sound, because at the end of the day, it's about how efficient you are with said firearm. And, you know, once again, that situational awareness comes into effect. You know, there's a lot of things that go into this, and it's hard for me to sit here and say that one concealed carry is better than open carry, and the other vice versa. You can't say that open carry is better than concealed carry, because they both have their times, place, and manner. And for me, I would open carry more often, probably just my handgun, maybe not so much the rifle, but I would definitely open carry my handgun a lot more if I was able to. You know, my only exceptions are fishing, hunting, and camping, and we all know that. But I don't think that saying concealed carry is more tactically sound, because you can look at the government, you can look at police, you can look at armed guards, you can look at a lot of the people that do actually open carry. They do sometimes they do get attacked, but most often than not, it's not the armed people that the criminals are going after. It's more the unarmed, or the ones they think that are unarmed. And that's where I would say the concealed isn't the best tactically, because concealed, they don't know you have it until they're all already on top of you and trying to do what they're wanting to do. But, you know, it goes both ways. I've seen videos of concealed carriers getting their guns taken, and I've seen the same thing with open carrier. But what it comes down to for me is that situational awareness and always paying attention to what's going on around you.
And protect yourself and your family so that when you see the shooter, you can get him with the element of surprise and take him out before he takes you or other people out. We talk about women empowerment and minority empowerment. The thing that will empower you and put you on equal footing, the same equal footing as an armed assailant, because you got the element of surprise. He's drawn attention to himself. He's already shooting. Everybody knows, anybody who can hear pretty much knows where he is, what position he's in. You have the element of surprise. Hide behind a shoe rack, hide behind a clothing rack, take a position, take aim, train for this kind of stuff. What could it hurt? It's better to have it and not need it than need it, not have it.
And like I said, I really don't have anything to say bad about this either. Like, yes, I want people to go out there and do some training. Like, for me, it's not like I have a place to go run and gun and do all the great things that, you know, look cool on YouTube and whatnot. But the one thing I do is I sit in my house, I've got a target up on my door, and I mean, it's just a blank target, and probably every single day for about 20 minutes a day, I will literally empty my firearm and do dry fire and just practice on the draw, because that's where seconds matter. Because if you're, like I said with Lucas Bakken, if you can get your firearm out in 1 second and put a shot on round in a second, you're doing better than all gun owners. Most gun owners, it's not like, I'm not criticizing all gun owners. I don't know everybody, but from what I've seen, not everybody is able to draw from concealment that quick. You know, whether it's 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, that was the average that I'd seen from just average gun shooters. And that's why it is important to train. It's important. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. No ammo's needed. And all you got to do is put your firearm in, pull it up, draw it, pull the trigger, and repeat. So that's the one thing about a lot of this is training, and once again, always being aware of your surroundings. I can't sit here and say that, you know, if you're in a mall, it's very possible they may have a no gun, gun-free zone sign or whatever. So obviously it's not going to be that easy for you to open carry inside of a mall. But I couldn't sit here and say that just because you were open carrying that you're going to be the first target, because a lot of times you could be already in the store and them not even know that you're in the store, and then they just decide to come in, and usually what's the first thing they do when they, from all of this is they come in and they take aim at the first target. So hopefully you're not the first target that he runs across, but like you were saying, I don't think concealed or openly carrying in a situation like that's going to make that big a difference. Because once again, when you hear those first shots, it's a natural reaction to kind of, get your head down and start assessing things. It's either flight or fight. And for me, I'm willing to fight, but I'm also going to try to do it as tactically by trying to say, hey, it's about knowing where your exits are. You got to know where, like, whenever I'm sitting in a restaurant, I always face the door. Why do I always face the entrance of the door? So that if somebody was to come in and start doing something, the first thing I'm going to see is the guy coming in. And, you can't be prepared for every situation, but you want to kind of have, all right, you start noticing certain things. Oh, there's a kiosk here I could get behind, or there's some trees, or whatever the case may be. You're always assessing, if something were to happen right now, what would I do? Where would I go? Where would I try to get behind, or do whatever I had to try to assess the situation? But these are all that's the tactics that I would say. And Brian, I'm not criticizing you at all. I'm just saying, I would say these are more of the tactics that people need to try to understand, is always being aware of, of your situation, especially if that same restaurant you always go to, know the ins and outs of that restaurant. If you always frequent it, you need to understand, oh, this is a point of entry, this is a point of entry, this is a point of exit, this is a hallway, this is the bathroom. Those are the things that I would say are more tactically sound, and not so much on the way that you carry. But that's just me, and I'm, like I said, I'm giving just my 2 cents, and I hope that there's something in my video that you may agree or may not agree, or or maybe we just have a difference of opinion, but at the end of the day, I think we both agree that having it and not needing it is better than needing it and not having it. So I agree with you 100% on that.
I think of this stuff and I'm like, man, it's sometimes, I hope this never happens to anybody. Okay. I hope you never find yourself in a position where you're sitting in a school, a classroom, and you've been disarmed in some federal building because you had to go to court or whatever. And, the people who don't obey the laws are the ones who are going to get in there with the guns. And so they're the ones who are going to be wreaking havoc, while the good guys have been disarmed by the people who said they were good guys, but they're really the bad guys because they hate the Second Amendment. Try to mentally put yourself in a situation where this kind of stuff goes down, because this kind of stuff goes down all the time, and then ask yourself, hey, what can I do to prepare in the event that something like this happens? I don't know. Leave your thoughts about this for the World and the Global Thought Police in the comment section below. If you
Like I said, this is not a bash on Here's the Deal. I do see some of his points. I understand some of the points of the concealed carry. I deal with that argument all the time. And I personally don't really care which way people carry, because I think at the end of the day, when it comes to it, it's about your effectiveness with your firearm, situational awareness, and mainly those two. There's other factors into it, but if you always try to pay attention to what's going on around you, and you're really proficient with your firearm, those are the things that are going to really help keep you and your and friends and family safe. You just never know when something is going to pop off. I wish we had a friggin' magic wand to see it happening before it happens. So the best thing for you to do is carry how you feel comfortable. Always do it within whatever laws are given to you. I wish we all had constitutional carry, but unfortunately, some of us don't. And express your rights the way you feel most comfortable. It doesn't matter how you look at it. If somebody wants to do harm, they can do harm with a knife, a bat, a shoe, a car, and all you can try to do is be ready for when that day happens. So don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button. And leave your comments down below and let me know what you think.